Hello friends, I'm Suzanne, your Canadian Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, and I would like to welcome you to another Paper Pumpkin alternative video. This kit is for the month of December 2021, and the name of the kit is called Lots of Pun. The purpose of this kit was to make 9 cards, but I have several ideas that could stretch your kit into making more from the contents. I also want you to know that folks that subscribe to Paper Pumpkin with me get an additional PDF emailed to them with a dozen more alternative ideas, and they also gain entry into my VIP Facebook page where there's a lot more inspiration and giveaways. Anyway, the coordinating Stampin' Up! Colors for this kit are Pool Party, Poppy Parade, Early Espresso, Daffodil Delight, Crumb Cake, and Granny Apple Green. You can find more pictures and information about the creations that I'm going to share with you today in this video at my blog, sunstampin.com. Okay kids, here we go with alternative card number 1. I have a piece of basic white that is 2 3/4 by 2 3/4, and I have the 2 inks here. They are Pool Party and Crumb Cake, and I am using the Splatters image from the really large and punny stamp set that came in the kit this month. I stamped each 3 times, and then with my blending brush here and my non-porous surface, which is just a laminated grid mat for the Stamparatus, I am blending on some of the crumb cake color along the edges of the paper. It creates a softer look, and it sort of highlights and gives an extra layer. So I'm going to layer the basic white card here on top of the crumb cake, and then on top of the Daffodil Delight. So I'm using my favorite adhesive here, Stampin' Seal Plus. I know that some people don't like it, and some people love it, like me. It's a love-hate relationship because sometimes the nozzle drives me a little nuts, but it's a very strong adhesive and it doesn't come apart like the rest. All right, so I'm adhering that crumb cake, and that's just 1/4 of an inch bigger, and then adhering that onto another piece of card that is Daffodil Delight, and that is 1/4 of bigger than the next. So I've put Stampin' Dimensionals, an obnoxious amount, on this piece of toast, just so you don't have saggy toast on your card. And I'm sticking this right in the middle, so it looks like a little framed piece of toast. So I put dimensional adhesive on the back of it, and I just took off I didn't take off the backing right away. I wanted to use it as a placeholder. So I put that on my basic card, basic white thick card base. I am looking for cat hair on my stamp sets. This stamp actually fell on the floor, and I have been on holidays for a while, but the cats were still here, and they were not brushed, I do not think, as thoroughly as I usually do, and I'm pretty sure that hair is everywhere. So moving on, I used my little focus piece here as a placeholder while I inked up with Early Espresso, the color that came in the kit, for the sentiment, and then I put the center piece in the middle, and this is my alternative card number 1, a toast to your success. And of course, I invite you to subscribe to my Paper Pumpkin. I have my little website there, and there is a link in the description box below for you to subscribe as well. It's a monthly subscription, unless you want celebration items, and then you can prepay for a couple of months and get some free product as well. Huzzah! All right, so this is card number 2. Here is Pale Papaya, Polish Pink, what is that? Melon Mambo, and then Rich Razzleberry. And I started off with the pale papaya, moving on to the polished pink. That might be Poppy Parade, actually. And I am trying to... I edited this very well, but there is no second generational stamping. It is just solid stamping. One ink up, one stamp, one ink up, one stamp. But I sort of intermingled the colors so it does look a little ombre. And then, yeah, I just made sure to fill in the gaps. And this is on just basic white thick cardstock. And then I left that little bottom right-hand corner empty because there's a little tiny stamp set. You might have missed it, or sentiment stamp. You might have missed it, and it just says hi. And so this is a great Valentine's Day gift. Just hi, and then a whole lot of hearts, which I thought was really cute. Don't worry if it doesn't stamp perfectly, because if you go over it with the Wink of Stella, the Wink of Stella will smooth out everything. So not only is the Wink of Stella good for smoothing out ink, you could also put it on your nails and then put a clear polish over top. And it also is a sparkly nail polish. I'm telling you this from experience. All right, so once I filled out my Wink of Stella, then I went in with some of these real hearts. These are real red hearts, and I placed them once I removed the cat hair from this one. I did manage to place 3 on the card. So one really close to the high, another kind of off to the left, and then another upper right. So I was just kind of filling out some spaces. And I also I felt like I wanted this to be sort of, I don't know, a tactile thing, because it's so flat, one layer card, which sometimes is really difficult. But if you can manage to create some interest with some of these like little gems, that is the way to go. So once I figure out where I want this one, I will plunk it down and fold the card in half with my bone folder. And that is card number 2. That one's a simple one. Don't forget that you get to choose which one you like best. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here we are with alternative card number 3. So I purchased this lovely Excalibur sword on Amazon, just especially for ripping apart the envelopes. I am known for ripping up the envelopes. It's because I do think sometimes that the paper pumpkin kits that you get, you may want to use all the components like they were intended. And the only thing that could be at all used would be the envelopes. So I do tend to use sometimes the envelopes, and you can see what I'm doing here. I'm cutting off, I cut off a little bit to try to get a square edge, and now I'm trying to get a square rectangle. I think about 3 inches I went, and I did end up cutting a piece of just basic white card to stick behind that, because when you work with envelope paper, it's very thin. So this might be a tip for if you're actually using designer series paper this way. I just had a little 3-inch piece of basic white that is just going to add a little bit of strength behind this paper. So I'm going to trim off the remaining little bits of that backing piece, and that way I can take my linen thread that came in the kit and I can wrap it around my rectangular piece here, and I'm going to I wrapped it around twice. I'm tying it in a bow, in a knot first and then a bow, because holy Dinah, sometimes it's way easier when you only got 2 hands to be able to tie things in a knot first, and then that way the string isn't slipping out and you're not having a loose bow. I tell you, sometimes. And like the magic of television helps me put the bow together so quickly. But there you are. My bow is all nicely done. So I have the sentiment piece here, and I have a piece of Scotch tape, and I'm just, I think this says thanks a bunch, and I am just masking off the a bunch part of that sentiment. I could have easily cut it in half if I wanted to, but I felt it was easy enough just to mask it. Please remember to pick up that Scotch tape. You could also use painter's tape, or you can just selectively ink too. That works if you're careful. I have one of the speech bubbles from the kit, and I'm just going to cut off that little triangular piece for the speech bubble. So now this just makes a sentiment squoval. Would it be a square oval? My nail technician would be impressed with me, because she's that's what they call some of the nails. I don't have them, but some of them are squovals instead of oval type nails. Anyway, you didn't need to know that. Here's some dimensional adhesive on the back, and I did attach that to the pool party strip that comes in the kit as well. And of course, if you used up all your components, you could use a little pool party strip of cardstock if you wished. And in order to just round those corners, you could use a corner rounder as well if you didn't have any more of those speech bubbles. Just adhering the bow and the twine perfectly. I'm securing everything with an obnoxious amount of dimensional adhesive, and then I'm going to place it on my basic white thick card base. And sometimes if I lay the card base straight, then whatever I'm putting on the card goes on straight as well. But most times I'm crooked, and I just make it seem like it's nice and straight. Again, folding in half and using my bone folder, and that would be, oh, and there's one more little thing. Some of these like little gems here, I used the pool party ones. So 2 little dots on top and one sort of close to the bow. And there you go. Really simple thank you card. I love the colors and the stripes in this. And then, of course, I would like you to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin if you haven't already. And I would love to be your demonstrator for that. These are absolutely fun and exciting videos for me to create for you, and I'm also a part of a team that also creates a whole bunch of alternatives as well. All right, here we have Memento Tuxedo Black ink and a piece of 4 1/4 by 5. No, it was 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Card, and this is my card front. I do have the card base that is Granny Apple Green. I ran out of basic white. Can you imagine that? It's on order. So, and I stamped all over the card base, or sorry, the card front with that banana. Did you know that bananas are my least favorite fruit? I don't like to eat them very much at all, actually. In a banana split, maybe with ice cream, but in general, not so much. My father was like that too. He was from Germany, and one time he purchased a banana because he thought he was exotic, and he tasted it and then almost gagged and threw it as far away from him as he possibly could. And I can imagine back in the 40s and the 50s, that would have been a very expensive banana in Germany. So he didn't like them either. So anyway, a little story while I'm coloring. So I started off with the Crumb Cake Light. I went in for the edges with the Daffodil Delight Dark, the Daffodil Delight Light in the middle, and then I'm going in with Granny Apple Green. And in case you don't know what these are alcohol markers. They're called Stampin' Blends, and they are lovely. I love coloring with them. I have a tendency not to with the paper pumpkins because I feel like I'm using a product that you might not know how to use, but you could use pencil crayons, you could use just regular ink markers, or you know what, you could have stamped this in yellow and not even bothered to color it. It would have been fine. I decided to color the background because I had been missing coloring. So I'm using Pool Party Dark, and then off screen, I did go in and sort of smooth out my brush strokes here with Pool Party Light. You will see in the stills after that nothing was perfect. I'm not a perfect colorer by any means. I did go in with, I think this is the skin tone, and sort of, or it might have been soft suede, just to like darken up the what do you call that, the top of the banana, the holder, the thing that the bunch part. Oh gosh, now I'm getting ridiculous. So you can see what I'm doing here. I have Wink of Stella, and I'm coloring all the bananas, trying to make them look more appealing to me than they were before. While that's drying, I'm just using my Stampin' Seal adhesive on my card base. I decided to put the glue on that first so that I could let my bananas dry. Then I made sure I had an even border on 3 sides, so that should, if everything is working in my life, that should create the small little border that I'm wanting. And huzzah! There it is. All right, so now I have to get my sentiment on here. I used Memento Tuxedo Black ink, but I think I could have used Early Espresso and I would have liked it a little bit better. However, it's just a second nature for me to go for the black. And it says, "Celebrate, go bananas." And I put this particular sentiment on angle, and again, just with dry adhesive, I'm attaching that to some of the crumb cake that was it was a laser cut from the kit. And again, cat hair or fluff or something or other. I trimmed this down, and oftentimes I do this by just with my scissors and by eye. So I'm cutting that off and then just going and creating a little border around. You don't have to be exacting when you're creating cards. This is a handmade card. It's supposed to be fun, and you're supposed to not color within the lines, people. We are going to have fun whether you like it or not. So I'm putting dimensional adhesive on my sentiment strip, and I'm going to adhere that on the left-hand side, which is sometimes I never put it on the left-hand side. I always go to the right. So this time I went opposite. And then I tied a little bow with this linen thread that came with the kit. And I did place it on the right hand side. It didn't look right, and off screen I moved it to the left side. You will see in the stills at the end that I have put it on the opposite side that I actually glued it on. So I changed my mind. I'm using mini glue dots here. They're worth their weight in gold. I thoroughly stand behind the glue dot movement there. It's amazing. And then I used some of the yellow little, I guess the gems, I want to call them. And that is it for card number, I can't remember what card number we're on, number 4. Okay kids, here we are with the card number 5, my last and final card with you today. I have one of the card bases that came in the kit. I actually cut off the front and then adhered it to a thicker card base. Just white, but it was thicker than where it was. So I have used my Early Espresso to create the sentiment, "Have an excellent day." And I don't know, these die cuts, they were trying to make them look like eggs. I don't know how you could screw up an egg so much that it looks like a flower. So I trimmed it round so that it looked like an egg, so that it would go with the joke. Maybe they left it look like a flower, because they felt it was more versatile. I don't know. I used a circle die, but you can use anything that's round on my black card here. And I'm so impressed that you could actually see what I'm drawing with this. It's just a pencil. And I'm creating a cast iron pan. So this is kind of what my cast iron pan looks like. So now I'm going to fussy cut it out. And I can tell that some of you, I can hear your eyes rolling. But just bear with me. There was no cast iron pan in this kit, so I have to make my own, ergo I have to fussy cut. So keep your eyes back in your head and keep them straight. I'm just joking. I know that fussy cutting can be for some people and some people can't handle it. I have no problem with it. I missed fussy cutting actually. I'm on holiday right now. All right, so I just erased that pencil line and now I have to go in with the butter. So I'm using Wink of Stella to create a circle on the inside of the pan. First of all, this is going to create sort of like that cast iron lip, and it's going to add a little bit of shininess so that it looks like butter. And if, I don't know, I'd like to know in the comments, how many people fry eggs in butter like myself, or how many people fry eggs in oil, which is tasteless and gross? I'd like to know, you know, oil or butter in the comments below. I adhered my egg to my buttery pan, and I put my pan on dimensionals, and I put a piece of toast on my card, and I actually add another piece of toast, and then I put just dry adhesive along this little strip. I adhered the sentiment strip to a stripy strip, and then I adhered that whole strip to another yellow strip. Sadly, I ran out of footage, and this is all what you're going to see. So this is the full-on pan and toast, and have an excellent day. And I just put that flat on the card. So before I go, make sure you vote on your favorite one through 5. And also, if you're looking to subscribe to Paper Pumpkin, I would love to be your demonstrator. The link is in the description box below, or if you're on my blog watching this, I'm going to put it right below the video, okay? So thank you so very much for watching, and I really appreciate you, and I hope you have a wonderful new year. I will see you again soon. Bye for now.